Story Time with Pastor Dan. If you remember, we started going through the life of Moses, and this was several weeks ago. But I want to pick up with the story for you. This section of the story is called Moses and Aaron Meet the Unfair Pharaoh. So sit back, relax, grab a juice box, grab some animal crackers, and listen to our story today. It was one of those days when nobody was in the mood for sitting in class. Summer sun was shining brightly across the schoolyard and through the classroom window. Everybody sighed a sigh of relief as the history teacher, Mr. Williams, was urgently called out to the principal's office. Suddenly, Jade felt something hitting the back of her head. When he turned around, another paper plane struck him on the forehead. As Nick and Frank burst into laughter, a frenzy developed, and Jade rolled up a piece of paper into a ball and threw it back at them, only she hit Charlie instead. In a flash, everybody in class, except Lorenzo, was throwing paper balls at each other, and things were getting noisier and noisier by the moment. Lorenzo was in no mood for fooling around. He was tired from helping his mom with the baby the previous night, and he was not looking for trouble. Things were getting out of hand, so Lorenzo stood up and cried out, "Everybody calm down!" He was still standing when the teacher suddenly opened the classroom door and got hit with a paper ball smack in the middle of his face. Mr. Williams was furious and yelled, "All right, 1 hour detention for everybody this afternoon." "But sir, I didn't do anything. I had no part," Lorenzo tried to explain to Mr. Williams, but he didn't want to hear it. "On second thought, make it 2 hours detention, and one more word and I'll make it 3. Well, if you think that was unfair, let's learn about another story that was unfair in the Bible about suffering. Moses first had to take the animals and tell Jethro that he had to leave when the Lord spoke to Moses through the burning bush. He commanded him, "Go back and deliver Israel from Egypt out of bondage." Moses did not know how he would accomplish that, but he trusted God, especially when he said, "I will send your brother Aaron to help you." Another thing, all men who wanted your life in Egypt are now dead. Well, Moses could not leave his father-in-law Jethro's animals there and leave for Egypt. He first had to take the animals back and tell Jethro he had to leave. Jethro told him, "Go in peace." Then Moses took his wife. You remember his wife's name? Right, Zipporah. I like that name, Zipporah. He took his wife and Zipporah and his sons, loaded them on a donkey, well, maybe more than one donkey, and started his journey to Egypt. Moses also remembered to take the very important rod of God with him in his hand. It was the very same rod which had turned into a snake and then back into a rod. On the way, the Lord told Moses, "Remember to do all the miracle signs that I have shown you in front of Pharaoh." God knew Pharaoh's heart would be so hardened that he would not let the Israelites leave before God had slain all the firstborn sons of the Egyptians. Moses and Aaron assembled the leaders of the people. Then Moses told Aaron everything God told him and also about the signs God told him to perform. "Hey Aaron, are you ready for this? God said you must do the talking." With a broad smile, Aaron answered, "Of course, my dear brother. You know me well enough to know that I can speak quite well. It's like second nature to me." Aaron had always enjoyed talking a lot. Do you know somebody like that? When they eventually reached Egypt, they first assembled the elders, the leaders of the people. Aaron told them what the Lord told Moses. They were very glad to hear that the Lord had seen their affliction and that they would deliver them from bondage. When they saw the signs that Aaron did in front of their eyes, they believed and bowed down and worshiped before the Lord. One day, Moses and Aaron went to Pharaoh and told him, Thus says the Lord God of Israel, let my people go so they can celebrate and bring glory to me in the desert. Well, Pharaoh was quite annoyed. Who is this Lord that I must listen to him and let Israel go? I don't know the Lord, and I won't let Israel go either. Then they said, the God of the Hebrews revealed himself to us. Please let us go 3 days' journey into the desert to sacrifice to the Lord our God, so he won't strike us with pestilence or with the sword. Pharaoh immediately sent his messengers to all the taskmasters. Pharaoh ground his teeth in anger. Moses, Aaron, why do you keep the people away from their work? Go away. Go back to your work. You people are already too many, and now you want them to stop working too? When Moses and Aaron left, Pharaoh immediately sent his messengers to the taskmasters and said, you may not give the people any more straw to make bricks. Let them go and gather the straw themselves to mix it with the clay. They must still make the same amount of bricks as before. They are just idle, and that is why they complain. Let us go and sacrifice to our God. Let heavier work be laid on those lazy bones so they don't have any time to pay attention to those lying words of Moses and Aaron. The taskmasters did exactly what Pharaoh told them to do and made the Hebrew slaves look for straw, hurrying them along and driving them even harder. The people did not have enough time to make the same amount of bricks, so they made less bricks and less bricks. Because of that, the Egyptian taskmasters beat the Hebrew foremen while they yelled, why do you now make less bricks than before? You're all lazy. In protest, the Hebrew foreman went to Pharaoh and complained, asking, why do you deal like this with your workers? No straw is being given to us, and we are being told not to make less bricks than before. We are getting beaten up, but it's not our fault. It's your people's fault. It's very unfair. Furious, Pharaoh chased them away from his throne, saying, you are just idle and lazy. You only want an excuse not to work, and that is why you want to go sacrifice to your God in the desert. Away with you, back to work. No more straw for you, but if you shall deliver your full quota of bricks for the day. The foremen of Israel felt very dejected and angry because they still had to deliver the same amount of bricks every day as before. Pharaoh was so unfair, and they did not know how they would survive all the hard work. When they left Pharaoh's palace, they saw Moses and Aaron waiting for them. It is your fault that Pharaoh and his taskmasters hate us so much and abuse us. You gave them a weapon to kill us with. The foreman accused Moses and Aaron angrily. Well, Moses was very unhappy to hear how heavy the burden of the Hebrews was. He was sad because his own people blamed him and Aaron unfairly for the hardship Pharaoh brought upon them. He knew it was only the Lord who could help them now, and that is why he prayed to the Lord again and said, O Lord, why do you treat this people so badly? I thought you were sending me to deliver them, but since we went to talk to Pharaoh in your name, he abuses them, and you have not at all delivered your people. The Lord answered Moses, now you will see what I shall do to Pharaoh. I am going to force him to chase them out of his land. The Lord further explained to Moses, I appeared to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob as God the Almighty, but I did not tell them my name. However, I made a covenant with them, promising to give them the land of Canaan as possession. I also heard the groaning of the Israelites from the Egyptians who have enslaved them, and remembered my covenant with them. Go tell the children of Israel that I shall deliver them from their bondage and from Egypt with mighty acts of judgment. I shall bring them to the land which I promised Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and give it to them as their heritage. Moses humbled himself and did what the Lord told him. He went back to the Israelites and told them about the Lord's promise. But the Israelites did not want to listen to him because of their impatience and anguish about all the extra hard work they had to do. Yet God had a plan, and he would exercise that plan. Moses believed the Lord, but because of all the unfairness and hardship in their lives, the Israelites did not believe him. Do you think one miracle would make Israel change their minds about Moses and God? How about 10 miracles? Now we'll have to wait for the next story to find out. Moses went back to the Israelites and told them about the Lord's promise and God's plan, and that they would have to trust him. And that ends our story for today. We'll pick up, we'll have another story next week, but before we go, I've got a couple of jokes for you that you can use on your parents and friends. I'm going to ask Brother John if he'll help me with this. Brother John, why don't you join me up here?
All right, hey guys.
All right, you ready for this?
I guess.
Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Amish.
Amish who?
Oh, I miss you too. That was good. Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Broken pencil.
Broken pencil who?
Nah, forget it. There's no point.
Broken pencil who?
There's no point.
Oh, no point to the pencil.
Yeah, you got that. Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Europe.
Europe who?
You're up early this morning.
Europe. Oh. Don't give these to your parents.
Bye-bye from Faith Baptist Canton.
See you guys.